hate. Hate is a very, very strong word, but in some instances it is quite appropriate. And in this instance, I find it very appropriate. Now, before I do continue, I want to preface, however you want to pronounce it. Oh, preface. Preface sounds better. I would like to preface this with a quick disclaimer, because very few people are going to see this anyways, but I am no expert. This is not an hour-long planned video essay about what I'm talking about. This is more so just just an off-the-cuff, non-scripted semi-rant. It's not really a rant, because I don't plan on getting too riled up. I'm calm now. The meter has dropped. But I decided, I was going to make a video like this a while ago, but then I was like, you know what? I want to kind of stick to the Halo content. But right now, I am in the right kind of mood just to complain. But take what I say with a grain of salt. I don't pretend to speak for anyone, especially not in such an unorthodox manner. But with that out of the way, let's get to the meat of this video, and that is the Illuminate. Yes, that's right. For those of you who may have been expecting although you shouldn't, because I'm titling this, this is going to be labeled as a Helldivers video, but this is a departure from my regular content. But the Illuminate. I hate the Illuminate. I believe they are the most hated faction because of how purely irritating they are. And I feel this is probably a fairly appropriate time to do this, considering the major order as well as the upcoming update to their faction. I don't remember. I think their update is coming on Friday. And so they're going to be getting new enemies, brand new maps with brand new objectives. Although I think it might be one. I don't know if it's I don't know the extent. Again, I didn't do any research. This is just off the cuff things I know off the top of my head. This is the perspective of the casual player. Me. Casual player me. I don't know how many other people feel the same way. But yeah. So brief context. So the major order currently is there is a planet. I don't remember the name. I think it's like CS or something. I don't know. I would have the game pulled up, but I'm very afraid that it's not going to translate well into recording. I'll have to experiment with that later. But yeah, so that planet, there's a lot going on there. There's a bunch of anomalous Illuminate crap going on that's pretty par for the course. They're into weird stuff. They're a weird group of fellas. And so our current objective, the current major order, is to go to that planet, capture that planet, obviously, and stop whatever the heck they're doing. And right now it's blocked off because there's one planet ahead of it that we have to get to, and that is, I don't remember the planet's name either. I was just playing like an hour ago. I had dinner between this because I needed time to cool off. But yeah, that planet, they did drop the Overseers. Now, I have only been playing, and I'll explain why in a bit, but I have only been playing on trivial difficulty. So I don't know what it's like on the higher difficulties, and I don't really want to know, because I'm already angry enough as it is at the lower difficulties. But so on that planet, there are the Overseers, and just the general Illuminate force has been dropped, and instead has been replaced with a ton of voteless. And those are little zombie guys that run around and bite your ankles. And honestly, I don't hate the Overseers anymore. I used to think the Overseers sucked. Now I kind of realize that the Voteless suck a lot more. The Voteless, to me, in my opinion, are the biggest issue. Because, and to give you context, I was playing on trivial difficulty. That is level 1. That is the lowest difficulty. I was struggling a bit. I'm level 42. Now, I am not the greatest. I'm not one of the best. I am not a superhero when it comes to this game. I probably more am on par with the average player. I'm fairly good at the game, but definitely not good enough to... I can't solo a super Helldive. Hell, I can barely solo a level 4 mission. Actually, I don't think I've gone beyond. I can do a level 4 mission, but I can barely solo anything above level 4. In fact, I don't think I could do it at all. So for me, an average, and again, I'm not saying this is the same perspective for everyone else. This is just based on me and my observations. But for me to say that I'm having trouble with the Illuminate on level 1 difficulty, trivial. It's called trivial for a reason. So for me to sit there and say I'm having trouble, I think that's a little concerning. Now, I do understand that it's supposed to be more difficult. I get that. It's supposed to be more difficult. But if I am by myself and I'm struggling to do the first level of difficulty, if I'm having a problem with that, that's not... I don't think that's very good. And if I'm having a problem, imagine how new players are gonna be when they play this game, when they first get on and they're faced with hordes of these guys. Like, it is crazy. It is crazy. I have trouble enough on normal difficulty before this. Before this planet, when I faced the Illuminate on trivial, anytime I traditionally, when I'm by myself, if I want to just relax, I'll play on like lower difficulties. And normally on like the bots or the bugs, I'll do level 2 difficulty. I'll do easy because I just want to farm my super credits, get my medals. Sure, maybe complete a personal order or two and do that. But with the Illuminate, I always go down to trivial because they're a pain in the ass. But yeah, and I have a long history with the Illuminate because when I first started playing the game a few months ago, I did like 2 missions on a bug planet because I knew the bugs were easy, and I did my first couple missions there, and then I went onto the Illuminate front because I joined right after they... I don't remember what planet we blew up. I think it was Penta. I believe we turned Penta into a black hole, but it was right after we fired the DSS. And we had to go into Illuminate territory and pull the DSS out of where it was. I think it wasn't Aurora Bay. Aurora Bay's in bot territory. But I was part of that. I took part in that major order, and the Illuminate as a beginner, I never wanted to touch them again. After we completed that, I went straight to the bots. After that because I was like, holy cow, this is a lot. And also, honestly, I probably got a little bit steeled. I was probably pretty steeled by the end of it because as I would unlock difficulties, I would be playing on those difficulties. Not necessarily because at the time I didn't know how to change difficulties because I was stupid and wasn't paying attention to the fact that you press Q and E on the galactic map, you can change the difficulty. I didn't figure that out until I was level 20 something, 30 something, I don't remember, but eventually I figured it out. But in the beginning I didn't know that, so I would just play on whatever difficulty it was, and so I got a decent amount of experience when playing. And so the Illuminate, I've got a lot of time fighting them, and so even in the beginning I did not like them. And so now, with this new update coming, I am very, very, I don't want to say concerned, because that's not quite the right word. I don't have a word for it, but I am unenthusiastic. I know there's some people who are looking forward to the changes. They're like, oh, finally new enemy types. Maybe they'll finally receive. And again, I also don't know if there's any patches they're going to make to the current existing forces. I don't know if they're going to do that. If there is, I haven't read it. So this entire video might be just an idiot's rant, which, let's be real, it is. This is an idiot's analysis. But I'm not looking forward to it. I'm not looking forward to what they have planned for this faction, especially since I don't like them so much. And I know nobody else, I don't think there are probably very few people who actually look at the Illuminate and go, oh, I like fighting them. I don't think so. Especially considering the amount of videos I've seen of people basically pointing out the flaws they find in the Illuminate, and they always talk about the overseers. But I honestly, again, this is a pretty unstructured video, so there's not a lot of structure, so I'm going to be all over the place. But shifting gears real quick to the Illuminate, conceptually, on paper, the Illuminate are a good faction. They're the most difficult to face because they use, and I think I saw somebody else, I watched one of these videos, and I know somebody mentioned this, they talked about it, but they basically use combined arms tactics, similar to the Helldivers. They have air assets that come in and strafe the ground. They have their mass frontline units that go in and just swarm you with bodies. And then you've got, obviously, your elites and your harvesters and your nonsense that blow you up and are basically the stronger, tankier enemies that require your immediate attention or you're screwed. And when all that individually, on their own, each part is not that bad to handle on its own, but when you put them together, then that's where the struggle comes in, is now you have overseers in 3 different forms that are shooting at you. You've got 2 coming at you with staves that are gonna beat your ass. Then you've got 2 floating around shooting at you, and with any roll of the dice, they could kill you in one volley. Then you have the ones sitting in the back, firing fuel rod guns at you. They always look like fuel rod guns to me. But they're bombarding you from a distance. They can one-shot you if they hit you right. And so then you've got a problem, because if you focus on those guys, you got to focus those guys or they're going to kill you. But then you got like 150 zombie guys coming at you, and they're fast. I don't like... Honestly, I think it would be a bit more manageable if their speed was nerfed. If they were a little slower... Like, if I'm in a full sprint, I don't like that they can catch up to me if I'm in a full sprint. Especially that leap attack they do. Just the dynamic is weird when you're facing them, because when you line them up in front of you and you start blasting, they're squirrely. They move around. The Volus are squirrely bastards. And they will move around your gun, and eventually one of them will get to your side if you don't police them rapidly. So they can be a problem they're a problem in their own right, and especially now on this particular planet where it's nothing but voteless. It's a pain in the ass to deal with them. Even more so than it was before. And imagine adding overseers on top of that, and then a whole bunch of other stuff. I'm not even going to talk about the Watchers, okay? We all know the Watchers suck. And I think the 2 biggest things that really need a nerf on the Illuminate side are spawn rates, obviously, especially for the voteless. Like, I do not need to be... Like, for context, on this planet, like, even by myself, I was struggling with this, where I would be trying to complete an objective, like escorting civilians to the shuttle bay, or trying to upload data or something, and I would just like have like a billion voteless heading my way, and I'd kill them all, and then I was like, okay, finally I can go do the thing, and then a bunch more show up, and it's like, what the hell is this? How am I supposed to get anything done? And it was really frustrating. They're the only faction that pissed me off. I do not get angry with the bots or the bugs, because, and I do understand that there is a challenge level to the Illuminate. There has to be a challenge level to every faction, especially the higher up you go, but for me, I am somebody who, it's not that hard to please me when it comes to games. All right, I am not too picky. I'm not too picky. I just like to have fun. So for me to have this level of aggression towards a faction in a video game, that's pretty big. That's a big deal to me. To me, that signals that there's an issue. So yeah, the vote list, in my opinion, I've already said this, the vote lists are probably my biggest issue right now, because already seeing them alone in action by themselves in larger numbers, it's not too doable by yourself. It is doable by yourself for sure, but honestly, the only people I can see not struggling with the Illuminate, especially on their own, are like the level 150 super sweats who play the game and type skill issue, and I'm probably going to get a couple of those down in the comments, maybe. I don't know. Depends on who sees this, how many see it, and if they care or not. But I've seen it before, where I've seen it on threads and comment threads and posts on Steam, where people are like, oh, they're listing out the issues they have with the Illuminate, and then every once in a while I'll see somebody who's like, oh, I'm soloing, I'm soloing D10 missions, it's just a skill issue, mate. You just need to do better. And it's like, first of all, shut up. Okay, not everyone spends 300 hours a day on the game while managing their servers. Okay, it's not everybody's like that. The majority of the players, I can guarantee you, are not as sweaty as you. So stow that first and foremost. And I don't like it when people do that, because it's like, sure, like, you're really good at the game. Okay, cool, we get it. That doesn't mean you have to disparage other players. But moving up from that, it's... Actually, I'm not sure how to move on from there. Again, this is unscripted. This is off the top of my head. But I don't like... Yeah, it's like, the Illuminate, essentially... To bring it back to the original point, to try and center things a bit more, they're very difficult to deal with, whether you're by yourself. Only the most experienced veteran players are going to be able to handle the Illuminate and not want to kill themselves. So... it's really, I'm not looking forward to the updates, and I'm honestly hesitant to even continue working on the current objective, the major order, because just of how unpleasant it is to fight the Illuminate in their current state. Like I said, with this new stuff that's coming, I don't know what's going to happen. Maybe they'll get better. Maybe they'll be more tolerable to fight. But then again, they could just make everything worse, and these new units are just going to piss everyone off. I don't know how it's going to work. I don't know how every other player feels about this. Again, I'm not an expert. I'm not Super Earth Salute. Do I look like those guys? No. I am not an expert who has a large community to base my analysis off of. But from what I've seen personally on this planet alone, I decided the best use of my time, if I'm going to be participating in this major order, is to stay on Trivial and go around and help all the cadets and all the new people that come in, because the new people are going to be upset. They're going to be angry. I guarantee you, when faced with this, because they're new and they're dropping into this absolute mess, this bullshittery. And so the least I can do is, as an experienced player is sorry, my computer screen turned off for a second. The least I can do to help this major order, the best use of my time is to help out the newer players, to make their first few missions as easy as I can make them. And I would recommend that others do the same. I'm not saying you have to. All right, do what you want. I'm a have fun guy. Okay, I'm not. This isn't a call to action or a arm up and do something about. No, this is just a suggestion. Is if you're trying to chill and you still want to participate in the major order, I would recommend going down to the lower difficulties and helping out some of the lower level people, just to make their lives a bit easier on this game. Because it's a pain. We all know it's a pain, and it's going to get more painful, especially with the upcoming attack on that planet. It's going to suck. And that ultimately encompasses my major gripes with the Illuminate. But I do want to tack on to the end of this, just a thought. I do wonder, and again, this is just the opinion of a casual shitter. I'm no expert. And I know you're tired of hearing it probably already because I've said it like 3 times. But I'm no expert. But I'm getting the feeling that they're setting us up for something. They're setting us up to fail here. They want something big to happen, and they want to make it as difficult as possible for us to stop what's happening. Because I have a feeling, because I think the major order was, 6 days? Today's Wednesday for me. It's Wednesday for me, so Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. So 2 days. In 2 days, is Friday. That's the update. Okay. So I have a feeling what's going to happen is they're going to pull all the new guys in. We're going to make headway. And then by the time we get to that planet, the update will have happened. The new enemies will appear. And the battle on that planet is going to be an absolute nightmare. And I'm not too optimistic that we're going to be able. Normally, I'm like, yeah, we can do this, but I have a feeling, realistically speaking, especially after Cyberstan, because Cyberstan is why I'm concerned. I did participate in Cyberstan. I think I did max like level 8. I think like D8 missions, difficulty 8. I never went higher than that. I don't even think I've done a super hell dive on any planet, and I probably shouldn't. But Cyberstan was, a lot of people have, and I think they're still asking what happened on that planet. Why would we even bother going there if it seems like we weren't even going to succeed in the first place? And I have a feeling that's going to happen again, is we're going to get thrown into this. It's going to be a mess, and we're going to fail. And I have a feeling they're prepping for something much bigger than just... I have a feeling they're prepping for something much bigger than just the Illuminate are doing something bigger, or the bots are doing, because all of this stuff is happening at once. Now, it could just be a coincidence. All right, it's not meant to be a big conspiracy theory, but it could just be a coincidence that all this stuff is happening around the same time. Maybe they're just dropping all this new content to make the game more exciting. After all, it is the, second or third year of this game? I think it's second, because it was just this, they just dropped the second anniversary stuff. And I know, I remember one guy was complaining about the fact that all we got was a free cape. Like, really? You're going to complain about that? It's 2-year anniversary. What more do you want? It's a cape. It's a free cape, dude. Just take it. What do you want, a war bond? But that aside, I do have a feeling that something big is going to happen. And I think the bugs, the Gloom expansion, I think that was before Cyberstan. I don't know if that was part of it, but I have a feeling what they're gearing up towards is all the factions are going to move in. Not necessarily get to Super Earth, but I feel like they're gearing up for all the factions to have some major push. And that's going to put pressure on us. So I don't know what they're setting up for. I have a feeling it's something very big. And And I think this is the second or final part of whatever they're planning. But I'm overall not... I'm very cautious. I'm very cautious of what's to come and what they're gonna throw at us. And that's really all I have to say about it. And again, this is not expertise. This is not... I don't speak for everyone. Some of you might agree with me. Some of you might not. Some of you might think I'm an idiot. And I am, to be honest. I'm kind of dumb. But, I mean, this is just my thoughts. This is what I'm putting out there. And that's it. That's all I've got. Who knows? Maybe we'll do this again. I hope not. I don't ever want to be this angry.